sa gabi paingon sa dakbayan sa Sugbo. Alang sa mga sumasakay, ang ilang ticketing outlet daon mahimutang sa may Borromeo Street ning siyudad sa Surigao. Alang sa rate sa pamasahe ug dugang pang mga impormasyon, pwede ninyong i-text ang ilang cellphone number 0927-002-7185. MV Lady of Triumph sa Medallion Transport Incorporated. Ang Mix 10 Herbal Coffee mapalit sa mga butika, parmasya ug supermarket dinhi sa Surigao City ug sa Surigao del Norte.
Anay mayong balita alang sa tanang mag-uuma sa humay or palay kinsa gusto makaangkon sa dagkong ani sa dekalidad nga klase sa humay or palay. Aniya na sa dakbayan ang accredited seed grower alang sa registered o certified palay seeds nga aprobado sa National Seeds Quality Control Services NSQCS sa Bureau of Plant Industry BPI ubos sa Departamento sa Agrikultura. Ayaw usiki ang inyong panahon, kahago ug gastos sa pagpananom og palay. Siguruha gamit sa registered o certified seeds aron nga inyong maangkon ang dagkong ani ug kita. Alang sa dugang kasentan, bahin sa registered o certified palay seeds. Pagkikitay lamang si Benito ang certified grower diya sa ilang tindahan sa Gold Ribbon Pick Shop at mang sa merkado publiko dalan sa Nicolas ning dakbayan sa Surigao.
Pahibalo sa tanan, aron magalkaytaan ni makuyaw nga coronavirus. Importante kayo atong iprotek ang atong kaugalingon. Kinahanglang musunod ta sa advice sa DOH o sa mga local government instructions. Usan na niana ang pagkaon ug maayong mga pagkaon ug siguroon nga lig-on ang atong immune system. Kini nga pahinumdom gikan sa Kia Ora Health ang nagbuhat sa Lutein Plus nga dunay kumpletong mga ingredients nga iprotek ang tibuok natong lawas. Kauban ang Omega Plus para kanunay nindot ang atong blood system. Ang Lutein Plus ug Omega Plus mapalit kini sa mga butika nga duol sa atong lugar.
Nangita ba kamuglami ang masustansya, limpyo ug barato mga pagkaon? Aniya na ang Lumay sa Surigao. Sila mo deliver og presko ug humid ng mga pagkaon, gama sa natural na mga sangkap ug walay preservatives sama sa batsoy, batsoy with egg, siumay mami, siumay chow rice, vegetable lumpia ug pork siumay. Sila mo deliver og libre sulod sa dakbayan sa Surigao. Sa maximum order nga 150 pesos, sila abri matag adlaw gikan buntag alas 10 hangtod sa alas 7 ng gabi. Pwede sila matawagan for pick up orders. Sila nahimutang sa Narciso Corner, Perez Street. Kontak lamang ang maong numero sa Smart 0951-5188-448. Sa Globe na numero 0977-2763435. O pwede mahanap sa Facebook ang Lumay sa Surigao. Panahon ng pandemya, palakasin ang resistensya, kumain ng masustansya. Lumay sa Surigao. Order na!
RPN Radio Philippines Network, Radyo Ronda DXKS Surigao, member kapisanan ng mga broadcaster ng Pilipinas.
Visayas and Mindanao. Welcome to Tatak ng Pagbabago 2020, the Pre-SONA Forum ahead of the 5th State of the Nation address of President Rodrigo Roa Duterte. We in the Presidential Communications Operations Office bring you the cabinet clusters tasked to discuss the policies and programs of the administration as it leads the nation forward amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. You will hear stories of pagkalinga as the government heeds the needs of the people and resolves to realize the President's promise of change. Today, we begin the first of the three-part pre-SONA stories with the economic development cluster. and the infrastructure cluster. This is Tatak ng Pagbabago 2020, patunay na pagkalinga.
Sa pagbubukas ng taong 2020, kinaharap ng Pilipinas ang mga napakabigat na suliranin. Pinakamatindi na rito ang pandemya ng COVID-19 na nagbigay banta sa kalusugan at kaligtasan ng sambayanang Pilipino. Sa harap ng pagsubok, tayo'y nagkapit-bisig at nagbayanihan para sa ikagagaling ng lahat. Sa pangunguna ni Pangulong Rodrigo Roa Duterte, puspusan ang paghahatid ng tulong at serbisyo ng pamahalaan sa mga mamamayan sa gitna ng dinaranas na public health emergency. Ang maagap at masikasig na pagtugon sa mga pangangailangan ng taong bayan ay patunay ng pagkalinga at pagmamalasakit ng Administrasyong Duterte sa bawat Pilipino, sa loob at labas man ng bansa. Bilang paghahanda para sa State of the Nation Address ni Pangulong Duterte, muling inihahandog ng Cabinet Clusters ang Tatak ng Pagbabago 2020, the Pre-SONA Forums. Sa pagkakataon nito, haharap sa sambayanan ng 6 na Cabinet Clusters upang ihatid ang mga tamang impormasyon at iulat ang katotohanan tungkol sa kalagayan ng ating bansa. Bitbit ang temang patunay ng pagkalinga. Layunin nitong sugpiin ang paglaganap ng fake news at disinformation. Sa unang bahagi ng Pre-SONA Forums, nariyan ang Economic Development Cluster na nagsusulong sa pambansang hangarin na muling umangat, bumangon at lumago ang ekonomiya sa pagkakalugmok sa sangasangang krisis na idinulot ng COVID-19. Kasama rin ang Infrastructure Cluster na pinapausbong ang infrastruktura sa bawat sulok ng bansa upang mapaunlad at mapabuti ang kalagayan ng mamamayang Pilipino. Sa ikalawang bahagi, nariyan ang Human Development and Poverty Reduction Cluster na nangangalaga sa interes ng mga maralitang Pilipino at umaagapay sa mga pangangailangan ng taong bayan sa usapin ng kalusugan, kabuhayan, edukasyon at iba pang mga serbisyo. Kasama rin ang Participatory Governance Cluster na itinataguyod ng isang transparent, responsive at people-centric na gobyerno para sa mas mabilis at epektibong paghatid ng serbisyo sa mga tao. Sa pangatlo at pinakahuling bahagi naman, nariyan ang Security, Justice and Peace Cluster na prioridad ang pagpapanatili ng kaayusan, seguridad at kapayapaan sa mga komunidad. Kasama rin ang Climate Change Adaptation, Mitigation and Disaster Risk Reduction Cluster na pinapahusay ang kahandaan at katatagan ng mga komunidad laban sa mga kalamidad at sakuna habang pinapaigting ang pagpapatupad ng mga pulisiyang poprotekta sa kalikasan. Sa 4 na taong pagsisikap ng Administrasyong Duterte na maisulong ang tunay na pagbabago, marami na tayong nakamit na mga tagumpay. Sinusubok man ng krisis ang ating bansa sa panahong ito, itutuloy natin ang maganda na nating nasimulan. Patuloy ang paghahatid ng mapagkalingang serbisyo sa mga mamamayang Pilipino. Sama-sama, iaangat natin ang bansa. Sabay-sabay, haharapin natin ang mas magandang umaga.
From the day of his election up to the present, President Rodrigo Roa Duterte has remained firm in his commitment to bring government closer to the Filipino people. Consistent with this vision, we have organized these pre-SONA events featuring the President's Cabinet Secretaries to share the accomplishments of their respective clusters over the past year, as well as their plans for the coming period. The presentations include the programs and activities for our whole of government response to the COVID-19 pandemic. We are carefully aware that our country and our people will continue to face immense challenges for the rest of the year and beyond until a vaccine becomes widely available. The COVID-19 pandemic will continue to adversely affect people all around the world. President Duterte's priority is clear: to save lives and protect communities. In the early days of this pandemic, this meant the imposition of strong quarantine guidelines to prevent the spread of the virus, while we proceeded to enhance and establish health facilities throughout the country. President Duterte also rolled out the largest economic protection program in our history, giving special attention to small business workers and informal sector families. Even as we speak, the government is spending as much as it can to support our less privileged countrymen. Yan po ang pagkalinga ng inyong pamahalaan. The emergency measures the President adopted to fight this crisis saved thousands of lives. But these life-saving measures had the inevitable result of constraining economic activity, thus affecting livelihoods. Having vastly improved our health system capacity, we are on the road towards reopening our economy. This is evidenced by the less restrictive quarantine classifications now prevailing in most parts of the country. Nonetheless, as we help our citizens return to work, each and every Filipino needs to remain vigilant. We should all continue observing social distancing and other public health measures, such as wearing of masks and frequent washing of hands, to protect each other's health and well-being. We must act responsibly. Sabi nga nila, mapa-ECQ o MGCQ, huwag matigas ang ulo, may virus pa rin. As we transition to the new normal, your government's pagkalinga will take the form of a strong economic rebound. We shall save and restore as many livelihoods as we can. The presentations you will be seeing shortly will provide our people a full picture of what has been done and what plans have been laid out for our nation's economic recovery. The whole of government is working round the clock to minimize the socioeconomic impact of this pandemic and to ensure our sustainable recovery. We have been relentless in mobilizing every resource and seeking every opportunity to attain better days for our nation. We are confident that in spite of the continuation of this health crisis, our economy can resume its growth trajectory and that our economic and infrastructure development will generate jobs for Filipino workers, enabling them to provide a more comfortable life for their families. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you very much for the welcome message, Secretary Medialdea. Now, this year's pre-SONA is different from that of what we had for the past 3 years. Nonetheless, our promise to give you timely and relevant updates on the administration's movements remains the same. As I've mentioned, this is the first of the 3 pre-SONA forums we have scheduled for you, leading to the State of the Nation address of the President on the 27th of July. Today's show is spearheaded by the Economic Development Cluster and the Infrastructure Cluster. Before COVID-19 hit us, the Philippines had one of the fastest growing among the major economies of Asia and the world. But the past few months have been tough for all of us. How then will our economy regain our momentum and recover? With us today is the head of the government's economic team, Secretary Carlos G. Dominguez of the Department of Finance. will just fix the audio of Secretary Sunny Dominguez. Apparently, the audio of the Secretary through Zoom has been muted. But today is going to be a special day. We have several members of the Economic and Infrastructure Cluster that will speak for the entire pre-SONA of this year. We have Secretary Dominguez. We will also have Secretary or Governor Ben Jokno, and then we shall have Secretary Mark Villar speak about all of the infrastructure projects of the Philippine government through the Build. The question today would be, what has, or should be not what the government has done for the past 5 years or 4 years, but probably what will you expect from the government from this time on until the end of the year, since we are in the midst of the pandemic, this crisis that hit our country, hit the rest of the world, and has caused the economy of the Philippines and the rest of the world to stumble. So napakalaga po ng magiging pre-SONA sa araw na ito dahil makikita natin kung ano ang plano ng ating economic cluster, ano ang plano ng ating infrastructure cluster sa mga darating na buwan. Dahil nga sa tanong na inuulit ko, ano ang para sa akin, ano ini-expect ng bawat Pilipino matapos tumama ang coronavirus sa atin lahat dito po sa Pilipinas at sa buong mundo. And we all know that for the past 4 years, na napakadami na pong nagawa ng administrasyon ni Pangulong Rodrigo Roa Duterte. The promise to bring down the poverty incidence from 23% to the target of 14%. Ito po ay nakamtan in less than 3 years, kung saan ay nakamit natin yung pagbaba ng 23% poverty incidence at ito naman ay bumaba ng 16%. So kung titingnan mo talaga, base dun sa target po ng ating pamahalaan, ay 2% na lamang ay tatama na tayo dun sa 14% na target. But of course, we have this pandemic that struck us. Hindi naman natin inaasahan ito. So the government kailangan ng gumawa ng konting recalibration sa kanyang plano. So the question remains, ano nga asahan ng bawat Pilipino? May trabaho pa ba ako bukas? Paano babalik yung trabaho ko? Sa mga negosyante, paano babalik ang aking negosyo? Para sa mga OFWs, ako ba'y makakabalik pa sa abroad para magtrabaho? Ano ang mga opportunities? Paano tayo babalik dun sa bilis ng pag-asenso ng ating ekonomiya sa gitna ng pandemya? At para po bigyan tayo ng sneak peek or preview kung ano ang mga babanggitin ni Pangulong Rodrigo Roa Duterte sa kanyang State of the Nation address in the coming weeks. Nandito po ngayon si Secretary Sunny Dominguez who will be the first to speak on our pre-SONA for 2020. Secretary Dominguez.
Thank you. Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Loud and clear.
Thank you very much. Executive Secretary Salvador Medialdea, Infrastructure Cluster Chairman and Secretary of Public Works and Highways Mark Villar, Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas Governor Benjamin Jokno, Cabinet Secretary Carlo Nograles, members of the Economic Development and Infrastructure Clusters, fellow workers in government, members of the Diplomatic Corps, business and financial communities, academe, civil society, youth organizations, development partners, friends in media, good morning. We live in difficult and uncertain times. In a country whose median age is below 25, the COVID-19 health emergency is perhaps the toughest economic crisis most of our people will live through. This pandemic is a black swan event that no one fully anticipated and was truly prepared to deal with. But we did not fold and run. in the face of an unprecedented crisis. We quickly took stock of the situation and responded with everything we had. President Duterte's early and decisive measures to combat the contagion saved thousands of lives. According to the epidemiological models by FASTER project in April and the University of the Philippines COVID-19 Pandemic Response Team as of June 27, government interventions such as the lockdown have prevented as much as 1.3 to 3.5 million infections. Imposing the enhanced community quarantine not only slowed the virus spread when it could have grown exponentially faster. The lockdown gave us time to expand our testing capacity by multiples. From just around 300 actual tests per day in March, our capacity grew to 18,141 average daily tests at the start of this month. As an indicator for whether a country is doing enough tests, the World Health Organization has set 10% positive rate as the benchmark. The Philippines meets this measure with only 7.4% of tests yielding positive result. We were also able to protect our frontliners and healthcare workers better, from procuring 1 million personnel protective equipment sets by the end of April to 6 million by the end of June. This is a six-fold increase that was accelerated by the special powers under the Bayanihan Law that facilitated emergency procurement and measures by the Bureau of Customs to expedite their release from the piers. We have improved our protection of healthcare workers. For all confirmed cases of COVID-19 at the end of April, 20% were health workers. This dramatically decreased to less than 8% as of July 5. Hopefully, this downtrend will continue as we strengthen infection prevention and control protocols. The lockdown likewise gave us time to expand our capacity to treat and isolate the infected. From around 33,000 beds in our quarantine facilities in mid-April, we were able to bring up isolation and treatment capacity to 68,000 beds as of July 6. 75% of these beds are vacant and available for use today. Only less than 1% of all COVID cases in the country are severe or critical. The rest are mild or asymptomatic cases and will not need intensive hospital care. Despite this, we will sustain our efforts to expand access to testing, hire more contact tracers, and beef up our treatment capacity. For us to overcome this contagion, we must do our part as individuals. We all have a big responsibility to play. In our homes and places of work, as we travel day to day, we must adhere to the minimum health standards. In places we live, shop, and work, we must wear masks, wash our hands frequently, and practice social distancing. We knew that protecting the lives of our people would come at a heavy price. In the first quarter of this year, our economy shrank by 0.2%. This is the first quarterly economic contraction in 2 decades. Our unemployment rate in April of this year spiked to 17.7%. Similarly, the shutdown of economic activities has taken its toll on business. The slowdown in economic activity and extensions of tax filing and payment deadlines combined to bring down our revenues. For the first half of this year, estimated tax collections from the Bureau of Internal Revenue and the Bureau of Customs dipped to 1.2 trillion pesos, 16% behind last year's performance for the same period. Given the economic situation, we expect to collect significantly less taxes than we projected to raise at the start of the year. Our debt deficit to GDP ratio will likely more than double as tax collections drop, even as the government spends more to beef up our healthcare system and to provide relief to families, workers, and other sectors hardest hit by the pandemic. None of the emergency spending was programmed. In addition, we need to fund our economic recovery plan, especially for small businesses. We will bridge the gap with additional borrowings. In previous years, emergency spending and urgent borrowing might have been very difficult. The Duterte administration's prudent approach to fiscal and economic management made us one of the strongest, most resilient, and credit-worthy economies in the region. Signs of recovery are also emerging. Despite the effects of COVID-19 on the overall trading environment, the Bureau of Customs was able to surpass last month's collection target by 4.4% volume. This signals rising economic activity. Recovery is also seen in the manufacturing sector as the economy reopens. As reported yesterday by the Philippine Statistics Authority in its monthly integrated survey of selected industries, the capacity utilization of factories as a whole increased to 73.4% in May compared to 71.2% in April. In addition, while the year-on-year volume of production index of manufacturing is down by 40.3% in May, this is an improvement over April's 43.6% contraction. The latest result of Purchasing Managers Index also points to an improved manufacturing performance moving forward, as it rose from 40.1 in May to 49.7 in June. Before COVID-19, all indicators showed economic strength. We were among the fastest growing economies in Asia with an average GDP growth of 6.6% from 2016 to 2019. We had managed to bring down our debt to GDP ratio to a historic low of 39.6%. Our revenues were robust after the passage of bold tax reform measures. In 2019, revenues were at 16.1% of GDP, our best performance in 22 years. This provided solid footing for our Build, Build, Build program. Despite the delay in the passing of the budget for 2019, we were able to catch up and accelerate our spending on infrastructure investments to 5.4% of GDP last year, double the average infrastructure spending to GDP for the past 50 years. Inflation also remains stable and under control, averaging 3% from 2016 to 2019. For the month of June this year, the inflation rate further slowed to 2.5%. Also, prices in June have only gone up by less than 0.25% compared to the prices at the start of this year. At the end of 2019, we had achieved the lowest recorded rates of unemployment at 4.5%, underemployment at 13%, and poverty incidence at 16.7%. In other words, without this global economic crisis, we had realized better economic outcomes for our people. Our economy was ready to soar. When the health crisis happened, we had already received a BBB plus credit rating, the highest in our country's history. And even amidst the pandemic, international credit rating agencies have affirmed our sovereign rating and have kept them at investment grade levels. In fact, the Japanese credit rating agency upgraded us from BBB plus to A minus last month. This is a vote of confidence in a sea of credit rating downgrades and negative outlook revisions worldwide. With our sterling credit worthiness, the commercial markets and development partners continue to provide us financing at lower interest rates and longer repayment periods. When the government can access debt at low cost, so will our private sector enterprises in need of liquidity assistance. That is so important in recovering from the ravages of the painful but necessary lockdown. The ability to finance at lower cost will help us bounce back more quickly and more sustainably. This is what makes the credit rating so crucial to restoring our economy's health. Today, the Department of Finance has raised a total of $5.3 billion in concessional budgetary support from our development partners. On top of this, the Philippines secured a total of $126 million in grant and loan financing from our development partners for various COVID-specific projects. This includes purchase of emergency medical supplies and equipment, as well as food distribution program for the poorest households in Metro Manila. In the commercial market, we raised $2.35 billion from our latest global bond offering that fetched the lowest ever coupon in the US dollar market. All these are a clear vote of confidence in our future recovery and a favorable appraisal of where our prospects stand compared to the rest of the world. In terms of domestic sources, we have raised 1.2 trillion pesos in gross domestic borrowings from the beginning of the year to support our budget. As part of this, the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas entered into a repurchase agreement with the national government amounting to 300 billion pesos to help us fund our COVID-19 initiatives. Moreover, we have received a total of 149 billion pesos in remittances from government-owned or controlled corporations since the start of the year. The Department of Budget and Management has thus far released allotments totaling 375 billion pesos for the government's COVID-19 response program. While the people's health and safety remain a priority, we cannot keep on retreating from the virus at the cost of our livelihoods. Metro Manila and Calabarzon account for 67% of the country's economy. It is vital that these regions reopen. The reality is that this virus will not go away until a vaccine is found. In the meantime, we must get back to work while staying safe. We need to strike a reasonable balance between safeguarding public health and restarting our economy. Health and livelihood is not a binary choice. We must protect lives in ways that do not prevent us from earning a living. This is a tough decision to make, but we need to do this. Revving up the economy essentially means raising consumer and investor confidence, which requires some functional level of interaction among groups and individuals. We are asking all Filipinos to cultivate in themselves a renewed sense of confidence through continued vigilance, not out of fear, but with the knowledge that most factors of viral transmission are under our personal control. Pragmatism guides us as we put together an effective recovery program that we can afford and fully execute. Components of this plan are already being rolled out. In addition to the 205 billion peso emergency cash grant and 51 billion peso small business wage subsidy designed for immediate relief measures, the government is implementing other initiatives to help struggling families and businesses. The public can avail of several credit facilities and services extended by government financial institutions. Members of the Social Security system can now borrow calamity assistance loans for COVID-19. Since its online filing was launched on June 15, SSS has approved a total of 479,000 applications amounting to 7.5 billion pesos. Today, it has released 1.7 billion pesos to 102,500 borrowers. Those laid off workers, when the economy froze, can seek unemployment insurance benefits equivalent to half their average monthly salary credit for 2 months. The SSS launched this program in August of 2019. Since the start of the lockdown, it has already approved 6,300 applications totaling 84.4 million pesos. To date, SSS has released 76.2 million worth of benefits to 5,740 applicants. The government service insurance system will also help members cope with the changes brought about by the pandemic. Next month, GSIS will introduce a new 30,000 peso computer loan program to its active members to help them purchase a laptop or desktop in light of the new normal of holding distance or online school class at a 6% per annum interest rate. In addition, the SSS will launch in September an educational loan program for its members to help pay tuition and other school fees for their nominated student beneficiaries. The maximum loan amount that can be taken out by a borrower for a given academic school year is 100,000 pesos. This will be payable after 5 years from the initial loan taken out. Private educational institutions can also seek help from the Land Bank of the Philippines Study Now, Pay Later lending program. Since the program's launch 2 months ago, over 80 educational institutions nationwide have expressed interest in accessing this credit facility. As of July 1, the bank has approved loan applications totaling 260 million pesos. The Philippine Guarantee Corporation, meanwhile, approved a credit guarantee program amounting to a total of 120 billion peso worth of loans for private banks for them to be able to extend financial assistance to small business owners during this crisis. Today, the corporation has already accredited 22 banks for a total facility of 37.5 billion pesos. Businesses are expected to start availing of the program by the end of July once the banks completed their legal review of the guarantee agreements. The Department of Labor and Employment, for its part, has extended financial aid totaling 6.4 billion pesos to over 1.18 million displaced employees in the formal and informal sectors of the economy, including our returning overseas Filipino workers. The Technical Education and Skills Development Authority, or TESDA, launched an online training program for displaced workers to upskill them. Since the start of the lockdown, 722,000 individuals availed of this program. The government is working hard to provide job opportunities and eventually absorb our laid-off workers into the economy in the shortest possible time. Similarly, the Department of Tourism has been implementing online learning series workshops since April as part of its retooling program for the industry stakeholders. To date, 23 webinars have been conducted for about 7,200 participants. This agency is also working on its tourism response and recovery program focused on the protection of tourism workers, promotion of domestic destinations, and development of institutional measures in support of the new normal, among others. Meanwhile, the Department of Agriculture rolled out cash subsidies to over 1 million affected farmers and fisherfolk, amounting to 6 billion pesos or around 5,000 pesos each. Farmers and micro and small agricultural enterprises can also tap the Survival and Recovery Aid Program of the Agricultural Credit Policy Council for additional financial assistance. Micro and small enterprises can also avail of the Department of Trade and Industry and the Small Business Corporation's 1 billion peso COVID-19 assistance to Restart Enterprises Loans Program. The loan amount that businesses can avail of ranges from 10,000 pesos to 500,000 pesos at zero interest rate, payable in either 18 or 30 months. Since the program's launch in April, the agencies have approved 2,000 applications with total loans amounting to 152.4 million pesos. To date, a total of 14.2 million pesos in loans has been released to 183 borrowers. We have also embarked on a series of priority actions to revive the economy while protecting our citizens. This includes restarting and accelerating the Build program, subject, of course, to compliance with health and safety protocols. We are helping businesses equip themselves to operate in the new normal. The Department of Science and Technology is offering its Small Enterprise Technology Upgrading Program, where businesses can access trainings to help them transition to online and contactless operation. The Department of Information and Communications Technology, for its part, is providing online resources for businesses and workers under a work-from-home program. To ensure that enterprises, even in the remote communities, are able to adapt to a new normal, the Department of Energy will be pursuing its total electrification program. This will be supported by the 2.46 billion peso Access to Sustainability Energy Program grant from the European Union. The program aims to provide access to basic electricity and energy services to hundreds of thousands of households nationwide with a focus on Mindanao. We have thrown a wide safety net for our people and our economy. This government will support you as you protect yourselves, your families, your colleagues, and your workers from this invisible menace. President Duterte's 8888 government complaints hotline is active. Do not hesitate to use this to complain or make suggestions. We are all in this together. We also ask you to bear in mind that while health measures are absolutely necessary for us to fight this pandemic, increasing economic activity in a responsible manner is a matter of national survival and priority. We encourage you to keep on innovating wherever possible and efficient. Shift activity to digital spaces, as many businesses have already done. Again, feel free to bring to our attention government services that you need digitalized. We must keep making progress on this front. To be eligible for benefits to duly registered enterprises, you have to, of course, register with the Bureau of Internal Revenue, the Department of Trade and Industry, and your local governments. These agencies are working to make filings and payments digitally enabled. Bear in mind, too, that you can directly contribute to our COVID-19 war chest apart from paying the right taxes on time. You can invest in government securities. Investing in government securities is not only safe, but is very helpful to economic recovery. The executive branch is doing its utmost to help the economy recover at the earliest possible time. But for other vital measures to boost economic activity and fortify key sectors, we need Congress's action. We are working on 4 legislative imperatives to help the economy recover quickly in a sustainable and resilient manner. These measures will make more support available for businesses, workers, and families, and will come online as soon as Congress is able to pass them. Elements of this recovery plan are informed by results of extensive nationwide surveys, as well as continuous engagement with thousands of stakeholders through our Sunong Pilipinas workshops with youth and business leaders. We certainly hope that our honorable legislators will give due priority to enacting them in a timely manner and in a form that is fiscally responsible. First, we are seeking congressional approval to infusing additional capital to our government financial institutions for them to be able to act as wholesale banks and fund substantial portions of loans that other commercial banks will provide to micro, small, and medium enterprises adversely affected by the pandemic. These private banks will then be able to lend even more money to businesses in need of liquidity. Second, we seek to allow banks to dispose of their non-performing loans and assets through asset management companies similar to the special purpose vehicles that were established in the early 2000s. Third, we are still waiting for the Senate to pass the CREATE Bill, or the Corporate Recovery and Tax Incentives for Enterprises Act, that will reduce corporate income taxes for the majority of small and medium-sized businesses by 5 percentage points immediately. This will help enterprises retain employees, invest more money, and meet their operating costs. The CREATE Bill will also modernize our incentive system and allow us to tailor-fit fiscal and non-fiscal incentives to the investors we want to invite here. Finally, we seek to provide greater support to the agricultural sector by giving the banking system the ability to support the whole value chain of agricultural enterprises. As we enter 2021, we are going to plan for a healthier and more resilient Philippines while making sure that all the proposed policies are aligned with this new normal. We are maintaining our Build, Build, Build program. Infrastructure projects will be the best way to revive the economy because of their high multiplier effect, stimulating demand and generating new jobs and businesses. More projects are also being identified in the areas of health, education, housing, and water and sanitation. We maintained our commitment to bold fiscal and economic reform measures, such as the remaining packages of the Comprehensive Tax Reform Program. The economic team also supports complementary bills that will open up our country to more foreign direct investments, such as amendments to the Foreign Investments Act, the Retail Trade Liberalization Act, and the Public Service Act. We will never take the threat posed by the pandemic lightly. Be assured that the Duterte administration will protect our economic gains, support our recovery, strengthen our resilience, and bring us back to the path of inclusive and shared prosperity. This crisis will not diminish our willingness to exercise decisive leadership. By working together, we will beat this pandemic and come out even stronger than ever. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Secretary Sani Dominguez. To discuss developments in the monetary, external, and financial sectors, we also have Governor Benjamin Diokno of the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas.
Esteemed Cabinet Secretaries, fellow workers in government, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. We are currently in the midst of a crisis that is unlike any that we have previously experienced. Yet, the Philippines entered the global pandemic with strong macroeconomic fundamentals compared to its regional peers. The robust growth, good fiscal performance, and strong external and financial sector positions provided the country with relative stability amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Allow me to share with you this morning the accomplishments as well as the latest developments in the country's monetary, fiscal, and external sectors. I will also discuss some of the recent BSP policies and initiatives that we implemented, including measures to help the Philippine economy during these trying times. In 2018, monetary and non-monetary measures were implemented to curb rising inflation due mostly to supply-side shocks. Consequently, inflation declined and settled at an average rate of 2.5% in 2019, down from 5.2% in 2018. In the first 6 months of 2020, inflation averaged at 2.5%, which is within the national government's target of 2 to 4% for this year. Latest BSP baseline forecasts indicate that inflation would settle at 2.3%, which is at the lower end of the national government's target range of 2 to 4% for 2020 and 2021. The stability of the Philippine banking system is another source of strength for the domestic economy. As of end December 2019, universal and commercial banks posted a capital adequacy ratio of 15.4% on solo basis and 16% on consolidated basis, much better than the BSP's threshold of 10% and the Bank for International Settlements threshold of 8%. The industry also has low exposure to bad debts, with a non-performing loan ratio at a mere 1.9% as of end April 2020. Meanwhile, the non-performing assets ratio of universal and commercial banks is at 1.6% as of end April 2020. Another source of strength for the economy is our robust external payments position, which provides adequate buffers against global risks and shocks. The country's balance of payments position recorded a surplus of 7.8 billion in 2019, a turnaround from the US 2.3 billion deficit registered in 2018. For the first 5 months of 2020, the BOP positions posted a surplus of 4.0 billion US dollars. The peso has been broadly stable, supported by the Philippines' strong external payments position. While most regional currencies have depreciated against the US dollar, the peso has appreciated. As a consequence of the Asian financial crisis, the Philippines accumulated foreign reserves as a self-insurance against a currency crisis. As of end May 2020, the country's gross international reserves, or GIR, stood at an all-time high of 93.3 billion US dollars, the highest ever in Philippine history. This is enough to cover 8 months worth of imports of goods and payments for services and primary income. The country's favorable external debt profile likewise supports the external payments position. As of end March 2020, the Philippines' external debt stock stood at 81.4 billion, lower by 2.2 billion than its recorded level in end December 2019. It is worth noting that the Philippines' external debt to GDP ratio has declined from 59.7 in 2005 to 22.2% in 2019, and further to 21.4% as of end March 2020. Our debt to GDP ratio remains one of the lowest among ASEAN member countries. Over the years, BSP has implemented many measures to support economic growth. And let me now cite some of those measures. The BSP continuously adjusts its foreign exchange regulations to keep the country's foreign exchange regulatory framework attuned with prevailing market conditions and responsive to the needs of an expanding and dynamic economy. As such, the BSP has implemented 11 waves of foreign exchange reforms since 2007, and one of the pillars of central banking is the safe and efficient payments and settlement system. On 9 December 2015, the DSP launched the National Retail Payment System, a policy and regulatory framework for the carrying out of retail payment activities through the BSP supervised financial institutions. Through the NRPS, the BSP endeavors to create a safe, reliable, affordable, interoperable, and efficient retail payment systems in the country. Under the NRPS, BSP encourages the use of electronic payments to enhance the speed, convenience, and affordability of financial transactions. As of 31 May 2020, PesoNet has 58 participating institutions, while InstaPay has 45. And the number of participating institutions for both are expected to further increase in the coming years. Our experience with COVID-19 highlighted the increasing importance of digital transactions. It was observed that the volume and value of the combined transactions of the PesoNet and InstaPay during the lockdown surged, while the volume and value of check payments and ATM withdrawals declined. The volume of InstaPay transactions from April to May grew 57%, while the volume of PesoNet surged significantly by 325%. The BSP is also encouraging the wide adoption of the national QR code standard, as well as the use of online payment facilities for all government transactions. The launching of eGovPay facility to digitize government collections and disbursements will lead to more efficient government collection, better audit, enhanced transparency, and eventually plug revenue leaks. The use of QR codes for payments has also been gaining traction as an alternative to the traditional debit and credit card payments. It is quicker, easier, and safer means of payment through code scan using a smartphone rather than having to bring a credit card. The BSP continues to play a supportive role in the promotion of inclusive economic and social development objectives of the government through its advocacy programs aimed at promoting financial inclusion. As of end 2019, there were 154 banks with microfinance operations serving more than 2.4 million micro-entrepreneurs. The total value of microfinance loans extended as of end 2019 amounted to 27.3 billion, 20.7% higher than its level in 2018 at 22.6 billion. The Credit Surety Fund, or CSF program, is a credit enhancing scheme that allows micro, small, and medium enterprises, which are members of cooperatives, to borrow from banks using the CSF surety cover as security for the loan in lieu of conventional collateral. From its inception in 2008 until end 2019, a total of 55 credit surety funds located in 34 provinces and 21 cities have been established nationwide. Correspondingly, cumulative approved loans for 17,400 424 MSME beneficiaries reached 5.7 billion pesos. The Economic and Financial Learning Program of the BSP, on the other hand, aims to help the public acquire the knowledge and develop the skills needed to make well-informed economic and financial choices and decisions. In 2000, the BSP has conducted a total of 638 public information campaigns and other economic information learning sessions that were attended by a total of 43,943 participants from different sectors of society and from all the regions of the country. In 2019, several landmark legislations have been passed to further strengthen the BSP's capacity to perform its mandates. These include the following: the new Central Bank Act. This is a culmination of more than 20 years of legislative work to amend the BSP Charter. It embodies a package of reforms that further align BSP operations with its practices, improve its corporate viability, and enhance its capacity for crafting proactive policies.
Kini ang Sibyaanan sa Radio Philippines Network. Pag-ong